Yo, welcome to the No Lollygagging podcast, where there's no lollygagging
No
in Whiterun.
lollygagging allowed in Skyrim.
No lollygagging. No lollygagging in Whiterun.
There is no eligible funds allowed for lollygagging.
Yeah.
You must kill
Yeah,
a
I think
dragon to stop lollygagging.
they never actually punish you for doing that in the game in Skyrim when they say that to you. It's a victimless crime, or I guess an unpunishable crime. They can just put you for it, but like I don't think they can really I don't think it's in the programming for them to attack you for just standing around off. You know what I mean?
It'd be very funny if there was a mod where you could sassily go, I took an arrow to the knee, f*** you,
Yeah. Yeah, they should have the black drag queen voice pack mod is what they should throw into
The
Skyrim.
RuPaul Skyrim mod.
Yeah,
That's
the
awesome.
RuPaul voice mod
Oh,
on
that'd be
Skyrim.
sick. So
Yeah.
many people would actually play that mod too.
Isn't it wild that RuPaul is like a Trump guy?
Huh. Yeah.
Like I don't know, for all this time I always thought I was like, it's like a gay guy that does makeup and like dresses feminine, probably a liberal. But then I remember in like 2018 he like did an interview with somebody. It was not Tucker Carlson. I almost want to say it was, but I know for a fact it wasn't because I would have watched it. But yeah, no, she came out and like was like or he came out. I say she because RuPaul looks like a woman.
Yeah.
But no, he came out and he was like, "Yeah, Trump's pretty awesome. I like Donald Trump. Trump's pretty cool." And I was like, "All right, I guess RuPaul likes Trump. Caitlyn Jenner likes Trump too."
Yeah. Caitlyn
is there a
Jenner was
thing-
allegedly trapped in Israel when they got bombed.
Really? Wait, what? When?
Yeah, there was like a Instagram
Like
story,
recently?
I thought, where she was literally in a bunker. I'm not sure if that's 100% right, dear listener, personnel. But
I hope that's real. That's kind of funny for some reason.
I just remember somebody saying that Caitlyn Jenner was trapped.
That's a funny place for Caitlyn Jenner to be trapped, Israel.
Yeah.
It might be the funniest place for Caitlyn Jenner to be trapped.
Hong Kong. Hong Kong's pretty
No.
funny.
I feel like, well, Hong Kong is basically run by China, so I feel like they would just imprison Caitlyn Jenner and be like, United States, you give us $3 million and then we give you Caitlyn Jenner back. Or like,
extort
then,
her out.
Trump's going to be like, and like Caitlyn Jenner, that's one of our national treasures, I guess here's $3 billion or whatever.
Shucks, this is terrible.
Caitlyn Jenner should go to North Korea, I think. That should be the next, just hit all the evil governments, go to Israel, China, North Korea.
Yeah, it's the world tour you don't want to do. Is what she does.
Yeah, that should be a Caitlyn Jenner press tour. I'd love to see her. I'd love to see the reactions of the North Koreans seeing 6'3", built like a brick house, Caitlyn Jenner.
Yeah. In comparison, you can have like Amy Schumer type as the only comedic representation. Just to follow her around and try to do stuff in China and other places. Just Amy Schumer stand up overseas. Oh, man.
Okay, sorry, I was tweaking out a little bit there.
Yeah?
Yeah, well, I kept hearing this noise. I have like a fan running because it's hot in here. And I kept hearing a noise and I thought it was coming from out there. And I'm like, what the is this noise? And I'm sitting here stimming like a fucking retard or whatever. I'm like, oh, it's the chair creaking.
Yeah.
So I guess I am, in the end, I am the Once again.
That could be the conclusion for every episode of a TV show. You just keep
Yeah.
doing dumb shit, and then you're like, in the end, I'm just really retarded.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
just
that would be
the
a pretty
easy
good show.
solution to your
Yeah,
issue.
I guess I'm just retarded, And then the
Yeah.
fucking it does like the black hole thing where it's like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Looney Tunes.
Yeah. uh, there was I haven't watched it, but on Netflix, there's a show called Tires with Shane Gillis.
Oh, I was literally watching that an hour before we started recording, pretty much. They have a second season out. It's really funny.
I heard they're having issues with season 3 because they want to put Shane Gillis on another show.
Oh. Well, I think Tire season 3 should definitely happen. I don't know what the other show is going to be, but Tires already is really fucking good. I mean, I was actually going to tell you about it and say like, hey, I think you'd really like this show. It's really funny. It's like up your alley, because it totally is.
Well, I just know he exists and is in the show. That is all I know.
Yeah.
I don't know the plot points. I don't know who else is in the show.
It's him. It's like a lot of people he's worked with in the past. Pretty much comprises the cast. And then they have Stavros is in it.
Huh.
He plays like the general manager for all the tire shops. So Stav is in like pretty much every episode, which is cool. And they have like celebrity guests come in and stuff like that. They had a guy in season 1, and I can't remember for the life of me who it was. I don't think it was Dan Soder, but part of me wants to say it was, but I can't remember for sure. Like absolutely, you should watch that. I recommend that to everybody because it's an insanely funny show. Shane Gillis is really good at bullying his like coworkers on the show. I mean, I watched an episode today where they had like, it reminded me of me in trade school when I started getting into HVAC, how they had these like trades, these young trade school guys come in and they're just like dicking off and acting retarded. So like Shane Gillis just does a bunch of shit and like essentially gets them almost arrested. It's a really good show, man. Love it. Tires is great.
There was a video on Instagram reels.com/reelsdat.com that had Shane Gillis and some guy doing, I think, a Benson from Regular Show impression.
Yeah.
And he does the Benson from Regular Show impression and he's like, "Fix my car or you're fired." And then Shane Gillis is like, dude, your fucking tires suck ass. I'm gonna fix your stupid fucking tires, dumbass.
Yeah. I also forgot to mention that there was a pilot that came out for Tires, and it was free on YouTube, and I've not been able to find it since. It's been like scrubbed, completely scrubbed or some shit.
It's a
lost
really
funny
media type thing.
It probably isn't lost media, but I also haven't really searched for it recently. But when the first season came out, I remember looking for it and I couldn't find it. But they released like a pilot for it in like 2019 or 2020 or 2020, somewhere in there. And I remember watching that. And then a couple years later, Netflix greenlit the show, and I was like, "Oh fuck yeah, dude!" Because that pilot was really fucking funny.
Yeah.
Like I remember there's a scene where Shane Gillis gaslights like his like on the show he works with his cousin, and he's like saying like Will sees this hot chick and Shane's just like, "Dude, you should just jack off in the bathroom. Just do it real quick, it'll be fine." So like, eventually he goats Will into doing it in the pilot, and he's fucking beating off in the stall, and Shane goes in and he hears him and he's like, "What are you doing, dude? What's going on in there?" Like, "Shane, go away. Just leave me alone." And then he's like looking over the stall. He's like, "Ew, dude, ew, you're touching yourself, bro." But I wish I could find that pilot because it's so fucking funny. But yeah, great show, Tires.
Mm, mm.
Honestly, it like people. It's really popular, and it's not because it's like overrated or anything. It's overrated for a reason. It's really funny. Um, and then oh, did you see that Adam Friedland show? They had Fantano on.
I saw that it got uploaded. I have not watched it yet.
Neither have I. I hate Fantano. He sucks.
I don't know. Maybe he had some good points, but at the
But
same time, I feel like it's gonna be boring.
my problem with Anthony Fantano is that he very clearly likes a certain genre of music.
Mm-hmm.
So like what he'll do is he'll be like, "Oh, I'm going to review the new Avenged Sevenfold album." And it's a pile of hot dog shit,
Yeah,
spoiler alert.
yeah.
I think it sucks. It's for normies. And he's like, "Oh, this is a good album, 8 out of 10." It's like, "No, it's not a good album, 8 out of 10. A good album, 8 out of 10 was Nightmare,
Mm.
from fucking 2011 or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
This shit is dog ass." But it's like Fantano's knowledge set is only with like Tame Impala style indie crap,
Or
like the
pop,
Smiths.
general pop.
Yeah, general pop, like shit that sounds like the Smiths, and like rap music. Any other genre, I don't respect his opinion on.
Yeah, he was trying to review. He's reviewed every Logic album to ever exist, but he always gives Logic such a small number.
And it's because he doesn't like Logic. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say that I think Logic is the greatest rapper, because quite frankly, that could not be farther from the truth.
He's at most like top 30, but that's
Maybe.
kind of stretching
I mean,
it.
I don't know. I'm not a huge Logic fan. I know people that are, and I know people that are huge rap fans that are like, they don't like Logic, but they know that he's good as a rapper. He has good lyrics.
Mm-hmm.
He has good bars. He knows how to write, good rhymes that aren't elementary. Like, he is a good rapper. I just don't like him. But like, I think if you're reviewing music, Anthony Fantano, I think he just doesn't like Logic.
Yeah.
I get that vibe from that he just doesn't like the motherfucker, and it's like, all right, neither do I, but at least like, I don't know, if I'm reviewing an album, I need to come at it as objectively as possible.
Yeah.
Like I feel like too many of Fantano's biases plague his reviews. I don't know. Friend of the show Ben and we talk shit on Fantano all the time because of his Kanye album reviews that are objectively wrong.
He probably fucking listened to the Carter 6 that just came out, and he was like, "Oh, this fucking piece of dog shit. It's a 4 out of 10." And
well, like, I'm pretty sure he gave fucking Graduation from Kanye West like a 6 or some shit.
What?
Like, that's like one of Kanye's best albums.
Crazy.
That is
work.
easily one of his best albums commercially, and like among the opinions of many. I mean, I like that.
Yeah.
I think I think it's Kanye's best album. Fucking Heil Hitler. I mean, come on, you can't really beat that, but. In the grand scheme of things.
I like how you tried to censor the Hitler word and you just completely missed.
Well, no, the chorus is Heil Hitler.
I didn't hear the start of that sentence. I just heard
that's what
boop.
For. Yeah, just like hitting this and then just saying like boop, Heil Hitler.
Yeah.
Just completely fucking it up.
Yeah, I just
no, go ahead.
I think a lot of what happens with Fantano is that he likes Death Grips, and then he doesn't like anything outside of it when it comes to anything popular. And then he goes, "Ooh, Charlie XCX is famous with the ladies. Let me get this demo up." And he gives it an 8.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like if somebody's favorite group is Death Grips, maybe you should take their musical opinions with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
'Cause I don't think the Death Grips are bad, but like, I feel like listening to Death Grips is like the equivalent of like showing people Mortician. They're not going to get it at first, and they're going to be like, what the fuck is this shit?
Yeah.
But if you listen to it enough, you're going to be like, all right, they're kind of cooking here, But yeah, I don't know. I like if Mortician was my number one favorite band of all time. Don't get me wrong, I love Mortician. I think these guys are great. They're far from my favorite band.
Mm.
But if that was my favorite band, if you're not taking my musical opinions with a grain of salt, because my favorite band is like the precursor to death grind as a genre, you know what I mean? Like some very extreme metal.
Mm.
If you're not taking my opinions on music with a grain of salt, what the fuck are you doing? Like, you know what I mean? If that were my favorite band, I mean, come on.
Yeah. Whenever I listen to Fantano talk about music, he's trying to make it either have meaning every time that he brings up a single song, or he just goes, a bunch of beep boop garbage bullshit that I don't like. It's one or the other, and it's never constant. It's very weird. Like,
yeah,
he gets pissed off about the mixing and the lyrics, and then when it's actually trash, he's like, it's fine. It's passable, whatever. Like, that's not how you review stuff, you know?
I think he gave Lil Pump's first studio album, not any of his singles or his EPs that he came out with, his first studio album, I think he gave it like a 6 or some shit, which is like not what you should be ranking a Lil Pump album.
Yeah.
I don't exactly remember. I don't want to fucking lambast the guy on some bullshit, but like I remember he gave that album a much better score than it deserved. I was like, bro, come on. And that's the last time I remember actually watching a full review or one of Fantano's reviews in full was Lil Pump's first album back in fucking 2017 or whatever.
Yeah. I listened to the entirety of that Kendrick album that came out after the feud with Drake. And
yeah, fucking Fantano dick rided that one, didn't he?
Yeah, and
he gave it like a perfect score or some shit.
He gave it like a 9.5 or something.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. He like dick rides all these artists like so bad. Like he's never given Kendrick a bad review.
Yeah,
that I can remember at least.
Gave
he's
To
always
Pimp
like,
a Butterfly a 10.
And like I don't think Kendrick's a bad rapper. I think Kendrick's pretty good, but he's also like at the level right now where it's like, all right, he's a little bit overrated here. Can I get like, you know, a Tara Reid? Can I get maybe Ramirez or like something like that? You know, like a rapper that's not so overrated but is still like a savage on the mic. You know?
Yeah, like.
Like Kendrick is like he surpassed Drake level at this point.
Shit now too. He doesn't
like, I don't
cover
understand it.
older bands. He doesn't cover older bands at all. Metallica literally came out with an album in the past like 2 years, and he didn't even look at it.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, same with Megadeth. Megadeth came out with a new album, I think 2 years ago or something like that.
Same thing with AC/DC to a lesser extent.
Yeah, no.
He doesn't look at the older stuff ever.
It makes sense to me, but it also because he needs to review the popular shit to get views. So that makes sense to me. But if he's claiming to be the internet's foremost music nerd or whatever the fuck, review it all. Fuck the views. You like stand on business. Quit being a fucking sellout or some shit. I don't know. I just think Anthony Fantano is kind of a faggot, basically.
He literally said he's never going to touch country music because it's too basic and too fundamentally not his style.
Yeah. How the fuck are you going to call yourself a music nerd and you're going to be like, I'm not reviewing country because I think it sucks?
Yeah.
All right, dude. Yeah, well, I don't particularly like country.
It just means you have a big fucking bias.
I don't particularly like country either, but if my job is, if I'm making money off of reviewing albums and reviewing music, I think it would behoove me to say, oh, well, I guess I'll suck it up and check out the new fucking Brantley Gilbert album or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
You know, whatever's popular at the time. I'll check out the new Jason Aldean album and hear how he wants fucking illegals out of the country or some shit, you know?
Yeah. Like I think the latest country he reviewed was Post Malone F1 Trillion because Post Malone is a pop star.
Yeah. Did he review Beyonce's country album?
He did. And he
I
gave it
bet
a
he did.
7.
Jesus
I was
Christ, dude.
like, what the
Are you
fuck?
fucking serious? You're going to sit here and say, I'm not reviewing country, but you're going to review a Post Malone country album. You're going to review a fucking Beyonce country album. You're going to give the Beyonce one a 7?
Yeah.
A fucking 7?
Yeah. And he gave...
Nobody should be listening to Anthony Fantano's opinion on anything! He is an idiot!
He gave,
that's what I gotta say about
he gave
that.
F1 Trillion like a 5, and I was like, it is not as bad or worse than this Beyonce album. There's no way in fucking hell.
Yeah, rate my fucking cock slapping you in the face. I bet it'll get a much better score than both the Post Malone and fucking Beyonce country album, you motherfucker. If that's what you consider country music worth reviewing, then yeah, my dick slap to your face is gonna get a perfect 10. I mean, holy shit. Anthony Fantano pisses me off.
Honestly, I have not checked to see if he has reviewed the Morgan Wallen album that just came out. Or
he doesn't review country, right?
Yeah, it's a country guy, so probably not.
Doesn't review country, so
but he's also this Morgan Wallen.
We're not going to know whether or not know whether or not the new Morgan Wallen album is good or not because Fantano can't tell us, dude.
This Morgan Wallen guy,
what am I gonna do?
He's like 2 songs out from being a pop star anyways. So
yeah, absolutely.
So I don't know why he's not gravitating to country.
Well, and right now Tyler Childers, by the way, saw him live. That's a poster from the show.
Fuck yeah.
Fucking that guy is like killing the country game right now. He's easily like one of the when it comes like maybe not when it comes to record sales, when it comes to like the actual music and the lyricism and like everything being done, Tyler Childers is easily killing the fucking game, but you won't see Fantano review his fucking albums, right? And that's like some real actual music. Like Tyler Childers isn't up there going like, yeah, I got my beer, my F-150, gonna fuck a bitch in the bed. He's like sitting there talking about like hard life in Appalachia and like people dying of black lung
like Johnny Cash, like middle depression, Johnny Cash level music.
Yeah, he's influenced by a lot of like that classic country where they have like an actual big band surrounding them on stage. Like I think when I went, they had like 10 guys in the band.
Fuck yeah,
like they had like a Slipknot number of personnel for the fucking Tyler Childers band. Awesome. But like yeah, I mean there's so many country and like Coulter Wall, that's a guy my sister listens to. I've heard some of his stuff and I think that shit's like pretty fucking good because it's also very like it's very like he has his party songs, but he also has a bunch of like emotionally driven stuff that's like actually interesting to listen to, and it's not just like party country. But you know, Fantano's not gonna fucking lay hands on that because according to him, every country song is like,
lame,
you know,
and
we're gonna kick you in the ass because we're in America. You did 9/11, so we're gonna blow out your head. Drinking beer in the truck and fucking a bitch. I'm in a cornfield and there's a bonfire.
There's like, also a golden retriever.
Yeah, I got a dog too. Fucking, like that's what Anthony Fantano thinks. Thinks all country is. I guarantee it. I almost fucking guarantee it. Like country music isn't simple if you find the good shit.
Yeah,
that's all I'm saying. I like country music. I like metal like significantly more, but I still like myself some good old country music. You know what I mean, son?
When I think of like how any creator could be like a sports fan, I think Anthony Fantano is a Los Angeles Rams fan, and that's it.
Yeah. He's bald. You could paint the fucking ram horns on the helmet on the side of his head.
and what I mean by that is that from how they are positioned in the NFL, they are literally in Los Angeles. And they are literally the most blue, like, straight-laced fucking team you can think of.
Yeah.
And then on the complete opposite side are your boys, the Tennessee Titans.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, maybe, like, my mentality towards Fantano could be different. But if he's outright just saying, I don't want to look at country, guess what? Country is like 15 to 30% of the industry right now.
Yeah.
So he's not paying attention to upwards of 3/10 of the industry.
Yeah.
That's not
if
good.
If there's ever a guy that needed a boss, it's Fantano with his music reviews. He needs a boss to tell him what to review. You know, he needs like a fucking employee handbook with like how to review shit properly.
Mr. Fantano, you have to review 6 country albums every month, or you're fired.
Yeah. Speaking of enemies of the show, so there's some more iDubbbz drama going on. I don't know if you've heard that.
The most I remember is he was asked to be pegged by his wife, and he said no.
Oh, it gets worse, dude.
Oh,
it gets
man.
fucking way worse. So I learned this morning. Or yeah, it was this morning I learned this. iDubbbz moved out of I think Seattle is where they were. So I guess money's tight right now. So they moved out of Seattle up into Edmonton, Canada, and
what the fuck?
In Alberta.
He
I believe Alberta
deported himself.
He deported himself
What
with
the
Anissa,
fuck?
and now they're living in Anissa's mom's basement. And they filmed a podcast from there. And the podcast setup, we have a better podcast setup than they do right now. I'll tell you this much, because they were sitting on the floor up against a wall with fucking, it looked like something out of like Saw. They had all these fucking wires, random wires hanging down and shit, like all this like random technology like right out of frame up on a shelf. But they just had this like vine, like these vines of wires hanging down and shit, and fucking iDubbbz just looks like he wants to kill himself, and they're like talking shit on Edmonton and saying like, "Oh man, it fucking sucks here." And
then
it's like,
why
yeah, no
did
shit.
they go there? Then why did they go
Because
there?
they're broke. Apparently they're broke. I'm thinking they're
What?
broke. I mean, like they've been fucking up so bad, the two of them, for like fucking 2 or 3 years at this point, and they're at the point where they're living in Anissa's mom's basement. You have to remember, right?
Oh,
There's like a cherry on top here that really makes me feel horrible for iDubbbz and his story. So he's been around Anissa all this time, and her manipulation and her, ruining his career and shit. Where do you think Anissa learned that behavior from?
Man.
I mean, it'd have to be
The mom,
in her upbringing, right?
The mom, the dad, somewhere in there.
Yeah, and she does. According to the like information we have now, Anissa doesn't get along with her dad, right?
Mm-hmm.
So where else would she have learned that behavior?
Well, guess who else? Guess who else was calling Froggy Fresh?
You know who else was calling Froggy Fresh? Who else was? Oh yeah, it was Anissa's mom. She was talking shit on him.
Yeah.
So, not only does iDubbbz still have to exist alongside Anissa, he has to exist alongside Anissa's mom, who is also as crazy as she is.
Yeah. And also as rude.
Yeah,
that's
like,
tough, man.
I've said it multiple times in the past, but I mean, I would not be surprised to wake up one day and to see iDubbbz on a thumbnail and a video title like "He finally did it," like.
Oh,
but yeah, it's looking real rough for them right now.
he verbally has like destroyed himself because
absolutely.
Because I don't think he can actually mentally process talking back to Anissa.
No, she's warmed down. She warmed down. Yeah, it's like I really struggle to feel bad for the guy. Like, part of me still does because, watching the whole like Cancer Crew shit back in the day in like high school and stuff, in middle school, like that was like the golden era of YouTube for me. That was some of the funniest shit. Yeah, that was some of the funniest shit put to video on the entire platform for the longest fucking time, for me at least.
Mm-hmm.
And just seeing this integral member of it just fall through the cracks on his own volition too. It's not like he's just been having bad luck. He's been doing this to himself.
Yeah.
And Anissa's been fanning the flames. It's like still really sad to see, man.
Yeah.
You know, I find, like I said, I find it very hard to feel bad for him, but at the same time, I'm like, damn, dude, that's rough, you know?
It's sort of like people keep making the joke that it's like Yoko Ono and the Beatles and Mr. John Lennon. And I kind of agree, but not to the extent of how important iDubbbz was to that group. Because, in my opinion, he's more of the Paul McCartney of this group of creators. But maybe I'm wrong. I always thought of iDubbbz as the Paul, and then I thought of Filthy Frank as the John Lennon.
Nah, it's iDubbbz is definitely John Lennon. We can see it with currently what's going on. He just hasn't been assassinated yet.
Mm-hmm.
McCartney was definitely Filthy Frank. I mean, McCartney was the most famous Beatle after the band, and that's kind of what we have with Filthy Frank. And then, you know, George Harrison, easily that was Max Mofo. They even look kind of alike. If Max Mofo grew his hair out longer and like grew like a beard, he could probably rock his look.
Hell yeah.
And then Ringo Starr was probably How To Basic, I would say. He was probably the Ringo Starr of the group, you know, always sitting in the back, like clearly had funny ideas, but like was never really put up front being like, hey, you know, How To Basic wrote this episode of Diarrhea Cake or whatever, you know. So yeah, that's what I think the Beatles lineup for the Cancer Crew is, you know. And then Anissa's Yoko Ono.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess that makes sense. I'm just saying, like, in importance at the time, my brain always thinks, like, if you could connect the dots, it would be Filthy Frank as John. Because he left first out of that group.
That's true.
So maybe it's a little mixed signal-y. Either way, we're comparing two completely separate things to one another.
Yeah, I like doing that. It's pretty funny.
But iDubbbz getting into so many situations, how does his brain not overreact into saying, I'm done with you. I'm putting my foot down. I'm gonna do something else.
Like putting his foot down to Anissa and saying like, fuck you, I'm leaving and doing my own thing. Is that where you're getting at?
Yeah.
So just, I mean, I have experience with women, and a lot of people don't realize how hard it can be to be in a bad situation with like especially a manipulative narcissist like Anissa is. You know, when you're in a relationship long enough, something that can happen is that you become intertwined with each other rather than being two separate people in a relationship. And I think that has happened to iDubbbz like a ton, because that happened to me. Like I've had that happen. And I think because of that, he probably feels like if he leaves Anissa, she'll be set up with another dude the next week, because she almost definitely will. And he'll be kind of screwed because he lost all of his reputation, integrity, subscribers, money.
And his last
name. And it was all because... and his last name, all because of her. And she'll be like living it up, and he'll be fucking cooked trying to just like put shit back together. And I think he damn well knows that if he actually like tries to leave her and goes out, if that's even a thought in his mind at this point, that he's probably going to be fucking screwed, because he probably will be, at least for a while. Like until he can get his integrity back, he's cooked, man.
I do have technically very, very related stuff topic-wise here. H3H3 is
Oh,
suing.
he's suing a bunch of people.
He's
Yeah.
he's suing 3 creators,
Yeah.
and I'm only gonna list 2 of them because I don't like the third one. There's Frogan and Casey Tron and Blank. And Blank. I'm not saying this name.
Dude, you hate her that much.
I
She's not Lord
despise
Voldemort.
this.
Dude, you could beat the shit out of Denims. You hate her so much? You're not gonna say her name. You could fucking destroy her in fisticuffs.
I don't even want to fucking bring up that name.
Dude, if you were fighting her, you could easily get her to bite the curb like an American History X. She would not protest at all. She would be in complete fear. Don't let Denims have this control over you. She doesn't even know he exists.
Yeah,
we can say whatever we want about Denims on this show right now.
I guess so.
We can just start lying about Denims.
Yeah,
let's just start lying about Denims. She's a child pornography addict. I've heard that Denims. She's mentally retarded. That's also a true Denims fact.
This is true. This is very true.
Denims is a retard. Everybody knows this. You can't even say I'm wrong because I'm right. Everybody knows. And she's also a bitch. She likes Hassan Piker. He wants Hassan to fuck her in the ass, doggy style. And it's not going to happen because Hassan is gay. I've had sex with him. A lot of people don't know. I've had sex with Hassan.
Hell yeah, Trump. Hell yeah. For free.
Big Don
Hell
out
yeah.
here fucking dominating the libs, dude. Dominating the libs.
Nice. But H3 is suing those 3 creators. Specifically because they were reviewing / stealing his content outright, and only like a little bit of Frogan's stream actually had any good context to it, and then it turns out that she ate or was out of camera for more time than when she talked over it.
Well, the thing, because I watched that video because I was bored and I was like, fuck it, this looks really funny that he's suing these people.
Yeah.
And he's suing people I don't like, so it's like perfect. But I was watching that. My favorite part is when he was breaking down Casey Tron's fucking breakdown of the video and how she smoked weed more than she actually talked about the video.
She was literally killing a lung before talking.
She was ripping a 20-inch bong more than she was fucking talking about the video.
She was zooted to heaven, dude. She could not
that was
see
so
at
fucking
all.
funny, dude. That's so funny.
But these creators were also prefacing to say, don't watch this video that this guy made on your own time. Watch this stream and give me money and support and viewership instead. Which is literally an illegal thing to do, is blocking a video from an audience.
Now, do you know if this case actually is like going to court? Like this is actually going through, and is he actually going to be able to sue these people for this? Do you think? Because I honestly don't know. I'm not super well versed in like copyright.
I think
law.
it's kind of gonna turn into like a cease and desist / like some sort of order against these people, but there won't be any money involved, and there most likely will not be a court case or suit. There will probably be a very nice slap on the wrist and if you watch anything, you have to credit H3.
I don't know, because I think in the context with the whole, like, whatever they called it, Streamergate, I think is what Ethan referred to it as in his video or something. I think that debate was actually, like, when it happened, I think that was actually a good... It was, like, there was very good arguments on both sides, because I'm anti-copyright. I think that you should be able to, like, use whatever music you want and anything. Mm-hmm. Like, you should be able to use, like, you should be able to sample anything, just for, like, the love of the art.
Yeah.
And you shouldn't get, like, sued for it, really. But and there's a difference with like plagiarism and shit. I want to make that very clear on my views on
Yeah.
this shit. But I think that whole debate in and of itself was actually very constructive, and I actually supported the guys who were like, yeah, we should be making money off of these people watching our fucking videos that are uploaded to the public, because if they're
Exactly.
making money off, like, I don't know, I kind of supported that whole thing. If nothing constructive is being said, then you shouldn't
Yeah.
be getting money for it. Uh, but like using that angle, actually, in this case, I feel like Ethan, all like and the whole like H3 crew, they have a point.
Yeah.
Like legally speaking, they definitely have a point here.
But at the same time, he's asking to be credited, or he will sue, right?
Exactly.
But the issue is a lot of the Joey Salads reactions and all of the like things that he used to talk about in 2016, 2015, there's no credit to those videos he's reacting to. So if he wins this situation, technically they could sue him for the same kind of thing.
Well, they couldn't sue him for that. It would have to be like Joey Salads, for example, would have to sue him for that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like,
but I think the difference comes.
It's a snake eating its own tail if he actually gets something out of it.
The difference is the platform, I think. Because if you're watching a live stream, you're watching something live, you're supposed to be giving live commentary on it, and you're not doing that. Okay, I see a point, like, hey, you shouldn't be making money off this shit, especially if you're not going to credit anybody, and you're not gonna, you're actively going to say, hey, don't watch this, watch other people watching it, and shit like that.
It's like if we started a podcast recording and I said, don't watch fishtank.live, we're just going to watch it for you.
Right.
When that's not what you're supposed to do ever.
No, not at all. But when it comes to like the shit that Ethan was doing, sure, I don't think he linked the videos that he was reviewing in the description, but the title was always there. You could always, you knew he was talking about like Joey Salads, just for matter of example. You knew he was talking about him. He's watching a video, you see the title, you're like, okay, I can go find that. I feel like that is a form of giving credit. And plus, when you're making like a video, obviously not a live recording, he's doing a lot more transformative commentary, which was the big debate with this whole Streamergate shit back when it was happening. So I feel like the two really can't be compared in the same way, because one is a well-structured, packaged product that essentially he's putting out there to the internet, and the other side of it is just some dickhead looking at a computer not saying anything while a video plays for an hour and a half.
And if they're Hassan, their chair reacts to it more.
Yeah, exactly. And like just getting up being like, I gotta go to the bathroom, I'm just gonna leave the video play. It's like, okay, yeah, super transformative shit. Yeah, great stuff.
My chair is swiveling and moving around while I'm gone.
But
so different.
I don't know. I guess my main point is I think Ethan does have some ground to stand on in a court situation, just with what little I know about legalese and stuff like that. I'm sure there's other people that disagree. Probably like fans of Denims and Frogan and Casey Tron and shit and Hassan, but I don't know. When it comes to like left-wing grifters, H3 is probably the coolest one to watch, I would say, out of all of them, because they actually say edgy jokes and shit. They don't take a come town approach to it per se, but they're not afraid to get their hands dirty with some nasty jokes, and I like that, because all the other left wingers are all like, oh well, if you make one joke about Chinese people, then you just need to be hung and killed and tortured. It's like, all right, I don't know about that, making one Chinese person joke, but you do you, I guess.
Yeah. Uh, yeah, I didn't even know about this suing situation until this morning, and I was like, oh, I should probably talk about that.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you brought that up because I did want to just chop that up on the show because it's kind of interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I do think the principle of suing somebody is pretty gay. Don't get me wrong, but he's suing people I don't like,
Mm-hmm.
so I guess it's okay.
It equals
You know?
out.
Yeah, it's really funny how because I've always had this opinion on like the left is how they always, you know, they can they all gather behind a cause, and then slowly that group gathering behind the cause starts fragmenting and like destroying itself from the
Yeah.
inside out. And we're seeing that with like the bread tube community right now. It's really fucking cool to see, you know. It happened with the right wing too, fairly recently actually,
mm-hmm.
because of all like the Israel shit happening. You know, there's a bunch of people like a couple years ago that were like all about Ben Shapiro. They loved the guy,
Yeah.
and now all of a sudden those same people are like, oh, this guy likes Israel more than America. Well, we don't like him. And oh wow, Charlie Kirk's the same way. So it happens on both sides of the aisle.
Mm-hmm.
It's just funnier when the left wingers do it because it's always about something dumb. It's never about something like logical. It's always something very stupid that they fragment over.
A thing that I set time aside to watch starting Wednesday, ending right before the pod, was a 3-hour long exposing video on Linda McMahon, wife of Vince McMahon,
and the secretary of
education.
Schools or whatever.
She's the secretary of education.
What a nerd. Fucking Linda McMahon.
But the thing is,
fucking nerd.
Linda McMahon is a failed business owner. And then she figured her shit out, right? And the company sold off and all this stuff recently. But she's been like privileged the entire time she's been in any sort of government circuit.
She's been in the government more than once.
She was in local government, I believe in Massachusetts, for the Board of Education. And
is that her only accolade for education?
I believe she also tried, and maybe succeeded, it's been a second, to be not secretary. It's like representative of Massachusetts. Something big like that. And then 4 years go by, and Trump's like, hey, I'll put you up here on a pedestal. You can do education stuff in my chair, in my cabinet. So, yeah, thing is, she is underqualified. She is more underqualified than you and I for the education positions.
I assumed she was because it was Linda McMahon. I'm like, what does WWE have to do with mathematics? Like, you know, okay, he did 3 Stone Cold Stunners plus 3 more the next night. Okay, he did 6 for the week.
Yeah.
You know, like, okay, sure. But I always wondered if she was like a teacher. Like, what the hell were her accolades? Or because like Trump's obviously doing some like Andrew Jackson shit where he's just like throwing his buddies from Capitol Hill in positions, and I kind of just assumed he did that with Linda McMahon, and apparently I'm right.
Linda McMahon has a bachelor's in French.
Boo.
She does not have an educational degree, but continues to get into Board of Education meetings, and now is the representation for small business and education in these past 2 Trump regimes.
Do you think when she was on the Board of Education in Massachusetts, like she would like be like, I'm proposing this thing for the school board, and like somebody voted bad on it, and then all of a sudden she's like, all right, Austin 316, let's go, motherfucker. And he comes in and just does a stunner on the guy that voted fucking against her.
Well, there was no sound effect. So give me a second so I can
What?
supplement the sound effect.
Was there one then?
No.
Dude, my life is over.
Let me quickly play it.
Do any of them work?
There
Does
you
that
go.
work?
That works. Hold on.
Okay. I guess I can't do Stone Cold Steve Austin anymore. Sucks. Yeah, Stone Cold's coming like, yeah, Austin 316. He takes him in. Oh! He's going in for the stunner! They have the announcers at the school board.
What?
This is the educational cage match! Hell in a Cell! Fucking mathematics style! And, Undertaker's in there. You hear like, boom, and he comes in. All the other school board people are like, what the fuck is going on? I'm 72 years old. And, fucking Benoit came in, did a spear before he killed his family. I mean, it was a great show there at the Massachusetts Board of Education.
Yeah.
Should have been there.
But she has been interviewed dozens of times to get into the position in the cabinet. And every time she gives the most plain, very, very dumb sounding responses you can think of.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, so why do you want to get rid of DEI in education? And she's like, I don't know, what do you mean? And they're like, you literally said you don't want African American history or indigenous history in American studies? And she was like, when did I say that? I never said that. You would have to talk to somebody else if they said that, because I didn't. But there's literal articles.
It sounds like me trying to lie.
But there's literal articles of her saying these things. So it comes off as, huh? What do you mean? Huh?
Is Linda McMahon a dual citizen to Israel? Do you know?
I don't think so. But
okay. Thank God. At least she has that going for her.
Trump gave her the chair of education or whatever the fuck, secretary, just so that she can blow up the position by the end of his term.
Oh, well, yeah, he wants to get rid of that, so he wants to he wants her to fuck it up as much as possible so that there's no possible way that they can have another federal Department of Education.
They're gonna BOMB the DOE just to get it out of there.
I'm okay with that because of them, my trade school hours were 180 instead of 120. So, or my externship hours, that is, and my class time was longer, all because they were dragging their cocks through glass and didn't see it fit to sign off.
Does that mean
on our HVAC program?
Do you think that the DOE affects college classes, like how long they are or what they talk about?
They have something to do with that, I believe. Because at least with trade school, like where I went to a technical school, technically. But like if there is a program that a school, for example, like in my situation, they're trying to cut down the hours on, they can submit, not a complaint, but they can submit some sort of form to the Department of Education, and they'll review it and sign off on it. And they'll do that for schools and colleges and shit all around the nation. But it's the government, so they drag their fucking feet all the time. They're useless, so they don't ever do anything right for me.
Well, I believe that would be near the end of this week's Northwest Trenches podcast, episode 75. I said it funny.
Yeah, instead of 75.
Yeah.
You said okay, I see what you did there. Yeah, that is pretty funny. It's the funniest thing I've heard all day.
The whole rest of the pod's not funny. 7-5. 7-5.
All right. See you later, everybody. Hope you enjoyed the show this week.
And you don't seem to understand.